Welcome everyone to another video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at BarTheGamer. I literally just spent the last 35 minutes thinking that I was recording, and then I actually did not record a single moment. So we're going back to back. I know exactly what's happening in every game, but let's go ahead and commentate. So it does switch out. Nice switch. I don't know why the shield went up there on Wish Cash side. Again, I know some of you guys don't like how I pronounce Wish Cash. This is going to be a Mud Bomb bait. And then the Blizzard's going to come through and KO. Alright. And does take it out. And yeah. I'm going to say... Oh, they actually switch out to Meganium, which is actually very interesting because it does lock in. And then the Meganium getting energy advantage is actually really good for the Meganium because Earthquake would do a devastating amount. It actually does catch the Frenzy Plant. So BarTheGamer is actually exceptional at counting. Really good. There's like a number of times where, obviously I'm watching at 1.5 speed, so it's a little bit different flow for me, but... very good at counting. This is, and goes back into, yeah, this matchup is pretty much over. They actually made a huge call. If you see in a moment. Oh man, I can't believe I just recorded for 35 minutes. So watch this huge no shield call. It clearly has enough for a Hydro Pump. It definitely would have been able to Hydro Pump and then bubble down. No shield. Oh my gosh. Like, that is pretty insane. Well, okay. A Hydro Pump is 130 base power plus stab. So it's more like 156. And then Ice Beam is 90 no stab. So, like, it definitely would have KO'd. So that was a gutsy no call. But it worked out. Okay, gonna go Azumarill into Wigglytuff. Again, Wigglytuff, as long as it shields the right charge move, can just basically charm down. And then look at this again. This is crazy. Like, no shield, another Ice Beam. It's like, so it's gonna win the 0 shield. Okay, goes for the Play Rough. Maybe could have bubbled down. Maybe. Let me see, actually. Wigglytuff. If you can bubble down after you shield. So they actually switch out into... This is actually really gutsy move. So once you shield once, you can bubble down. No, actually, no, you cannot bubble down because you get charm down right beforehand. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, I didn't realize that. It would have been nice to get bubble down because you get 100 energy, but just Wigglytuff has 1 HP left. It's not a great situation. Plus, this Wigglytuff still has a little bit of health left. So that's actually quite a brilliant move because basically gonna sack Azumarill so that this Wish Cash cannot get to a Blizzard and gonna save the shield on Altaria. And then watch this, like, here comes the Wigglytuff committing to the farm down. But look, seriously, look at how much health this Altaria loses. And the only reason why BarTheGamer wins is because it is Meganium in the back. Oh, actually, I'm showing the wrong team as well. Okay, apologize. I just finished recording. Here's the team. Yeah, okay, that makes way more sense. I honestly, well, okay, let's see. If it was Skarmory in the back, definitely would have lost. If it was Alolan Marowak, it might still won, because it would have been able to get to it would have been closer, because the Vine Whips are double resisted, yeah, as opposed to Fire Spins being single. If it was Froslass, it probably would have got farmed down, and obviously it was Skarmory then, that was the win condition. So going to go into the Meganium Mirror. And this is game 3 in round number 1. Okay. gonna go into oh yeah, they got counter switched. Man, this panning so they can't see the Pokemon is very annoying. So I expect a shield to come up, and I actually expect this to be a Shadow Ball. There's not really much incentive to throw the Avalanche bait, mostly because like if they Avalanche bait and it fails, then you're in huge trouble. And if they shield, they're still going to throw the charge move beforehand, so it would have netted the same result. So Frenzy Plant, and going back into the Meganium. So Meganium actually would have been able to tank this Frenzy Plant better than Frostlass. It still does a lot, because Frenzy Plant is an absolute broken move. And the opponent makes a mistake, and it's actually very fortunate because it ends up going for Earthquake. Earthquake and Frenzy Plant, as I said many times in my videos, actually do the same damage because Frenzy Plant is base 100 plus stab, which makes it 120, and then Earthquake is 120, but is 20 more energy. I don't know if they would have. And I'm gonna go switch out into. So they make a very interesting decision here because it takes 10 charms to get to charge move, right? Either Ice Beam or Play Rough. Each charm does 6 energy, and Play Rough is 60. They actually make a really brilliant move here in Undercharge. And then the Meganium comes through. So it might not have made a difference, the 20 energy difference, because it only got 1 Vine Whip through. So it would have been at like 28 energy or something around that. So it still would have been short of a Frenzy Plant. But definitely a mistake throwing there. But, under pressure, we all make mistakes. So it's understandable. Okay, so terrible lead. This is like absolutely the worst lead that you can encounter. But the thing is, look how crazy this is. It actually stays in. And you can kind of guess why. If they're staying in, it's definitely because they have Toxicroak and Venusaur. But the thing is, like, then so they actually make it really, well, I don't know if this is, like, better or worse. I don't know. They double, oh my gosh, and the confusions just go through. They're going to come back with Bastiodon because they have Toxicroak in the back. And as long as you have, like, a secondary check to Bastiodon, which this person does with Melmetal, Bastiodon has a lot of energy. So here's the Flamethrower. It has like basically 100. So this is going to be a CMP tied to this one because it only takes 2 additional Smackdowns, which you get 100 and throw the charge move because it's, I think it's like 8 per Smackdown. So if you're at 100 energy, you spend 55. You need 10 more, so you need to do 2 more. So they go for this is not going to KO. And they switch out into, this is like a... Altaria basically beats the rest of this team. Well, actually, if it was a Zoomerl, then it would have been a little different. Zoomerl actually would have been really bad. So here, you have to have enough health to be able to KO this Bastiodon. But you can't also let the Bastiodon farm. So, hopefully people don't focus too much on this in the comment section, but I think this is, this Bastiodon it's very debatable. Very debatable on whether or not that Bastiodon lagged and then would have been able to KO. And then maybe would have been... So they went for the Dragon Pulse, right? They were at, like... Let's say they were at 15 energy. Let's be generous, right? So that means 45 energy. That means 7.5 turns, which is 5 Smackdowns. Plus, they would have went to 100 minus 55, and then they would have added 16 minus 55 again. So they would have been at 61, 6 plus 5 times 8, which is 40. I'm throwing these numbers out. 48. So they would have been 1 Smackdown away from a flamethrower. The thing is, do they survive the thunder shock? How much energy does Melmetal have in the back? I don't think it had very much because it switched out right away. Yeah, this Gallade is so good against this team. Obviously, it beats 3 of the Pokemon and then does okay against Alolan Muck because its close combat does a devastating amount. Actually, could have got to Leaf Blade, but this is okay. Gonna go back in with Melmetal and just farm down, and then superpower. Superpower this double superpower this Bastiodon. So actually would have been really close. I don't know. I'm sure they reviewed it and they came to the appropriate conclusion because it also could have been visual that the Bastiodon wasn't moving because I saw the health go down too. So I don't know. They definitely reviewed it. So GG able to win game 3 in round number 2. Oh, actually no, sorry. That was game 2 in round number 2. Let's do focus on game number 1. I think they lead Azumarill. Yeah, and this matchup is pretty much a wrap. They basically have counter switches all across the board. I think they come in with Tropius. And this is very bad. Probably should have, to be honest, if you want to pressure shields, double up. And that would be 8 confusions because of the defense drop. Because for sure the Tropius is going to look to farm down. Maybe could have landed Leaf Blade there too. Leaf Blade probably wouldn't have KO'd. But it would have potentially forced a shield. Yeah, but this is pretty much a wrap. Has no answers for the Azumarill in the back. Yeah, this is a pure counter switch. Yeah, there's nothing this can do. So the next opponent has Hypno, Azumarill, Altaria, Probopass, Stunfisk, and Cherim. No point in shielding. Like, you would definitely not. There's no way you can win in that scenario. The Azumarill has too much health. So we're gonna move on to round 3 in game number 1. So it's gonna be Altaria into Hypno, and you gotta really figure out what kind of punches this Hypno has. And it does sneak in this 4th confusion before the Sky Attack. It makes sense. And then if it throws right away, you know it's gonna be a punch. And Ice Punch. So to be honest, so this probably has another punch. It's only 3 confusions to the second one. And oh man, really nice switch. And this is into Azumarill. Yeah, this is pretty much a wrap. But you learned something pretty interesting about this Azumarill, at least. That it's running actually Play Rough Hydro Pump. Because actually Play Roughs and actually Play Roughs again. So I actually probably it's debatable. And here comes Gallade. And then they're going to counter switch to Altaria. And then, yeah, this is pretty much over. This Altaria is way too low health. It took way too much damage. And then basically going to lose with 2 shields up. Well, basically, yeah, there's not really much play here. Going to go for the Leaf Blade baits. But basically he can double shield. These confusions are adding up, though. I maybe would have... actually tanks it. Wow, that's crazy. does like absolutely nothing to Altaria. But this it's going to be enough to confusion down. And then expect this... oh yeah, the Hypno is going to come back in. And this is pretty much a wrap. So loses game number 1. This confusion deals neutral damage because of the psychic fighting typing. Psychic obviously being super effective fighting, and then being neutral, being resisted by the psychic typing. Ends up being net neutral. So catches a huge lead. They both sides completely change Pokemon. So gonna look to Rock Slide. This is not a good position for the Altaria. These Rock Slides are gonna deal super effective damage. The Thundershocks don't do that much. And they switch out into Azumarill. A very late switch, though. But it might still be okay. The Thundershocks did enough damage. And actually, as well, they don't have Ice Beam. Which puts it in a little bit better situation. Because it does take one additional bubble more to get to the second one. Plus the Thundershocks added up. Okay, and then this is a very unfortunate situation for the Altaria, because Altaria cannot farm down, because these Frenzy Plants are going to do way too much damage. And then ends up in a CP tie. And it's actually going to switch out into Lapras, hoping to KO. This is a risky play, because... potentially could have had... I guess there's nothing that punishes it that much. Well, this Probopass is not going to like the Surfs, but it's going to be able to deal super effective damage. But it doesn't really matter. Here comes the Rock Slide. And yeah, this is pretty much a wrap. This Melmetal has superpower, which is going to deal a lot of damage. This would one-shot the Probopass from this range, but because it shields, the second one's not going to KO. You're going to see it's going to leave Probopass in the red. Yeah, and going to have to shield for sure. Thunderbolt probably would have put it in Spark range. They both decide to shield at the same time, or switch at the same time, and allows it to reset, and then can just throw the superpower, and this is GG. Would win the CMP tie against the Probopass. So as you can see, they both completely change Pokemon, completely change strategies. And let's see. The next match. It's going to be Melmetal into Azumarill. So this is not a particularly great situation for Melmetal, because this Azumarill can just go for the Hydro Pump and basically KO with the Hydro Pump. If you don't shield, Hydro Pump, I don't think Hydro Pump would KO from that health, but Hydro Pump does 94 of 143. Each bubble does 6 damage, so it can only take one more bubble after the Hydro Pump, or 2 more bubbles. So it does shield, and then here comes another. Yeah, Hydro Pump, and then they go for the Rock Slide. Let's see if it's going to want Switch Advantage, or Melmetal does win the 2 shield if you go straight Hydro Pump. Oh, couldn't go with Cherim. Ah, man. Very debatable move. It actually makes a huge shield call. Shields the first superpower. So now this Melmetal is very debuffed. Oh, man. I think this is a mistake, throwing. Because another superpower wouldn't KO. And they actually go into Altaria. And then they go into Probopass. And yeah, this is pretty much GG's. Maybe, I don't know if there's any world where this Cherim could... if it has Dazzling Gleam, obviously, then it would have been in maybe an okay situation. But probably not still. Like a Solar Beam. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, there's no way. even at 100 energy, you throw 3 weather balls, it does only half of Alteria's health. So doesn't matter. The weather ball doesn't even kill the Meganium. The Meganium is able to KO. So able to take game number 3 in round number 3. So some very intense matches. And we're going to go into the next opponent, rocking Lapras, Umbreon, Tropius, Toxicrow, Alolan Raichu, and Regirock. I'm hoping that there's going to be Regirock action, but it actually doesn't happen. With 2 water types, it's kind of... one was an ice type as well. So Meganium actually wins the 1 and 2 shield. And then loses 0. But this is kind of weird how this plays out. So Umbreon barely wins the 0 shield with like 3 HP left if it's default IVs. But this one's only 1470 something Umbreon. So it actually gets to the Frenzy Plant first, which is actually a little bit weird. I'm not sure this Umbreon is overcharging or missed out on a Snarl somewhere. Because that definitely shouldn't have happened, but let's see. It ended up going into Tropius, so these Frenzy Plants basically mean nothing. But Switch Advantage is Switch Advantage. But giving up a shield for Switch Advantage, let's see if it's going to pay off. And then they're going to look to Aerial Ace, but down a shield, and this is a huge counter switch. They actually switch out into Lapras. Oh, man, Lapras Mirror, down a shield, behind on energy. This is like definitely a wrap. Like, you don't even need to bait. Just go for the Skull Bash. And not shielding the first Skull Bash is very devastating. Because, like, one, now you took a Skull Bash without the defense boost. These Ice Shard damage don't really mean that much. It does end up getting the Skull Bash before the second one, but would it took 25% less damage? Yeah, it goes for the Skull Bash. A little bit of lag. And I think this is a mistake as well. Not committing to the Skull Bash. This is 2-stage buffed Lapras. And I think this is an undercharge, because this Skull Bash actually doesn't KO. Yeah, it's definitely an undercharge. Was looking to farm up a little bit more. But man, this Lapras is insanely bulky at this point in time. And then Spaces switch out Tropius and Air Slash down. That's GG in game number 1 in round number 4. And gonna go into Umbreon. Umbreon not gonna appreciate these superpowers, but it's very bulky. And straight up takes another superpower and actually doesn't get KO'd, obviously, because the first one didn't go do half. But and then gonna go into Lapras. A little bit of lag there, not even lag, like visual fast move lag, and gonna take another one. And this is where, to be honest, I actually would have farmed down here, but they actually do a really good job in actually counting. Because it ends up actually being a CMP tie, but it was only two more Ice Shards. So does get the shield, which is huge. This is not going to KO. And they actually go into Tropius, hoping to Air Slash down, and just barely survives. And then here comes the Melmetal. Just looking to gain whatever energy advantage it can get. And then here comes the Rock Slide. And Oh man, okay. Gonna survive this, but just barely. And I would, okay. I would just, okay, gonna go Rock Slide first. And then I would just Superpower, well, I guess, unless it's a lone Raichu, I guess, but unlikely. It ends up being Lapras. So Superpower would have been, it doesn't really matter. I think they shield anyways, so. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is pretty much over. So able to win game number 2 in round number 4. And gonna go Altaria, Lapras. I think this is a really risky play. Somehow it works out. Is it this play? So Altaria, maybe it's not this game. So Altaria generally loses to Umbreon unless you have like a very high ranked Altaria. This is again a 1476 Umbreon, so the matchup might be flipped. See, this is a risky play right here. Really risky play because you brought Melmetal. And I'm not sure why they went for the foul play here. Okay, so I think this is a misplay. It's okay, though. These things happen. But so actually very fortunate it stayed in and got the shield because actually Toxicroak comes through. And Toxicroak could have run down and then had 2 Sludge Bombs ready for the Altaria. And definitely would have got a shield back. And then did need to expend the foul play. So it was... Okay, so first off, it only does a Mud Bomb, which is actually like huge call here. Sludge Bomb like would have put it really low. 2 shields on Meganium's like okay. But they actually go to their Lapras. And so huge... yeah, this is pretty much over. It does sack the Umbreon. No, it doesn't actually sack it. Just, well, it has energy, I guess. Foul play. Makes sense. Like, it's unlikely this Lapras gets a Skull Bash. So, this Lapras has a lot of energy, though. And basically you have to read whether or not it's going to bait or not. So if this is a Skull Bash, and you let it go through, then it's like almost over. And if it's a Surf, then you're going to get back-to-back Surfed. And it ends up being really close. Really, really close, but able to Dragon Breath down. Honestly, if it would have been Dragon Breath down, then it would have been CMP tie. So going to go into the last match. BarTheGamer's run to regionals was not easy at all. These were some very intense matches. So loses the lead, which is not great. And then here comes Melmetal. Going to counter switch into Meganium, mostly because Meganium has such a poor matchup against Altaria. And to be honest, like probably could have blind switched into Meganium once the Altaria switched out, because there's nothing on this team that really threatens the Meganium in even energy. So it's not going to KO with this Rock Slide, and likely going to go for another Earthquake, and then BarTheGamer is going to double shield, which makes sense. Yes, this Azumarill has energy, but this Melmetal also has energy. It doesn't have enough energy for Charge Move quite yet, and it's going to force this Azumarill. There's no way this Azumarill can bubble down. It's too much health, and it's going to force it to throw. But it's going to take 2 Rock Slides. And you don't really want to shield these Rock Slides because they don't do that much damage. But as you can see, it chipped away. Took away 2/3 of the health of... So then you're going to look to bubble down, which is the play. And they actually go for Superpower. The thing is, like, if you go Rock Slide the whole time, then Rock Slide and Superpower come up the same time. So actually would have been able to KO this Azumarill, and then it ends up being okay. I think. I'm gonna switch out into Bastodon. Actually ends up not being okay. So here's the thing: like, if it would have rock slided, then probably definitely would have KO'd, and then the Bastodon would have came out, and then you just go into Meganium, and you have a little bit more health. Nice switch, especially after that lag. But the thing is, like, this Bastodon is just gonna farm down. It just needs 7 of these to be able to KO, and it definitely has way more than 7. And this Meganium doesn't have energy. The only play there was to bait the Frenzy Plant, and then have I don't really know. There was no play. The play was to throw the Rock Slide, and then BarTheGamer would have won this match very handily, because would have a shield and just double Earthquake against this Bastodon. It takes 7 to get to. Yeah, would have been able to beat the Bastodon by like 1 smackdown or 2 smackdowns away from before it gets the second flamethrower. So, good counter switch. And then this is where the Meganium actually switched out too slow. And then as well, because it was Dragon Breath going into the... So then you end up giving up shield, which is very bad, because now this Tropius is going to farm, and you're getting very little value from the shield. Yeah, you get switch advantage, but now your opponent gets energy, and you're basically doing no damage to this Tropius. So they actually switch out into Malmetal, which is a very aggressive switch. But I guess this is like what you have to do if you're low, right? And man, so they actually have Bastodon in the back. You can kind of tell how they're staying in. And I understand the Malmetal switching in is to get an energy advantage, because like if this has too much health, then it would have been very bad. If it had too much energy, then it potentially would have beat this Malmetal. So, oh man, to be honest, I probably would have shielded here. I think if you shield... Oh, actually, no, they have Lapras. Okay, so this is the mistake. BarTheGamer was actually a little bit fortunate here, because honestly, if the shield would have went up, then it would have been GG. This would have been over. This Lapras would have been able to straight Ice Shard down and then just double surf the rest of the Pokemon. So very fortunate that shield didn't come up, and just because like you saw all 3 Pokemon, I guess you maybe are afraid that the Meganium has energy, which to be honest, it does have a little bit of energy, but you probably could have surfed it beforehand, and as well. Yeah, it would have been close. It would have been close. So it's very debatable. Like, I don't know how much the energy that Meganium had left. It did throw a Frenzy Plant. And did farm. I don't think it had very much energy left. I think it would have lost the Surf. Meganium would have won the... it basically would have had to have more energy than the... Because they get to the same amount of turns. Well, I guess it would have been the third one. It's very debatable. I think it was very close. Definitely the wrong call was not. So, anyways, they go into. So we saw this similarly beforehand, and they go into Azumarill again. This Azumarill has to throw. It's going to take way too much damage from this, from these rock slides over time. They actually switch out into Lapras, and they switch out into Bastodon, and really there's no play here. There's really no play. These Ice Shards are resisted, but the Surfs are dealing super effective damage, and there's no way you can tank a third Surf. So you have to throw. and a shield here, but really, like, I don't even know what the play would have been. Flamethrower, and here comes, yeah, there's really no play. It's going to overfarm, and that's GG. And this Azumarill, even it connects here. Like, I don't even know what the play would have been. Very nice team comp in the end. And BarTheGamer able to win, like, probably one of the toughest regional runs that I've seen to date. Like, every match from game 1 to 5 were all really tough. I don't think there was any like easy game. Maybe the easiest round was round 2, but even then the third game was a complete blowout. So congratulations on winning. Definitely a well-deserved win. So anyways, if you guys like this video, want to see more Voyager Cup, Regional Cup tournament runs, let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll see everyone in the next video.